Thank you very much. A clear statement of explanation at the beginning. The Perito Moreno Glacier was not a site proposed by the IEG. I was asked by the organizers to present it somehow on behalf of the Argentinian geoscientific community, which submitted the case and which was approved. It was highlighted as an amazing glacier front and a stable glacier in the face of global warming, which until now seems to be quite a distinctive feature of this particular glacier. Generally, we observe a retreat, typically very fast retreat of glaciers around the world. The Perito Moreno is different. And I'm going to show you this case a little bit closer. So where we are, yesterday some of us had an opportunity to listen to the talk about the Torres del Paine in Chile, which are here. So the Perito Moreno Glacier is pretty close to Torres del Paine on the Argentinian side within the Los Glaciares National Park. So the slightly broader geomorphological context is like you see here. We have the Andes in the west. We have the vast and dry Patagonian tableland in the east. And this is quite a steep front of the Andes facing east with a number of glaciers and also the lakes where the very shapes of the lake basins indicate that they occupy places formerly being glaciated. And the Perito Moreno is this one here, which ends quite curiously within a lake, or rather it looks like separating two different lakes over here. What you see on the left-hand side, this big green patch is the southern Patagonian ice field, mentioned yesterday as the biggest ice field on Earth outside the polar regions. It's more than 4,000 kilometers square, and it issues a number of glacial tongues in different directions, both west and east, and Perito Moreno is one of those going to the east. It's right here. The glaciers we have today are just the remnants of much more extensive glacier, the ice cap and the outlet glaciers which existed there during the various cold periods of the Pleistocene, and in the surroundings of the wider surroundings of Perito Moreno, we can identify a number of moraine ridges which indicate the different stages of glacial advances and retreats. And some, as you see, were at some stage, they were very, very extensive. They extended for many tens of kilometers further than they are now. This is the closer look at Perito Moreno. And what you see here is the glacier tongue, which occupies a mountain valley and ends in a lake. So in fact, as this particular photograph captured, it doesn't completely close this strait between the two lake basins, but there is a very narrow connection between the two. So the glacier front actually ends in a lake. Looking from the vantage points, which are excellent in this place, you have a distant view of the accumulation zone with the ice cap, but also some of the cirques. So they are all feeding the glacier tongue, which is more than 20 kilometers long in total. And this is the terminal zone, the ablation zone, which is deeply cracked and it's about 2 kilometers wide across. Looking at the front in a little bit more detail, it has like two sections or two parts. The northern one is floating on the lake, and the process which we can observe when we go there is the ongoing calving, and which occurs very frequently. So just a few hours of visiting the place will give you an opportunity to experience many episodes of big ice slabs just falling down into the lake and creating waves of different heights. The southern part, however, is land-based, so just over here, which from the tourist point of view offers an opportunity to experience the glacier very closely, allows to touch. There are some tourist groups just exploring the glaciers. If you wonder what is the height of this floating toe, here it's about 60 meters. So that's the height. What is so important and so distinctive about the Perito Moreno Glacier is that since the period of more or less regular observations, it keeps the front at more or less the same position. It doesn't retreat. And it must be also a very dynamic glacier because, as I mentioned, you observe the calving just going on all the time, very intensively, and still the terminus is more or less the same position, which implies the very high velocity of movement of the ice to compensate these losses. From time to time, the glacier advance is so fast that actually this little strait is being closed. So the ice tongue touches the opposite bank of the lake. But it is very short lasting state, and soon the glacier terminal part is being undermined by the water lakes, and a bridge is formed, the ice bridge is formed, and then it collapses. So we have a series, historically, the series of these ruptures when these two parts of the lake basin, the Rico branch and the other one, are being reconnected. So it's quite a spectacle to observe. The scientific tradition, the person very much involved in research of glaciers in this part of Patagonia was Francisco Moreno, and after him the glacier is named. In the town of El Calafate, which is now like a gateway to the area, the main tourist base, you can see the monument erected to commemorate this person. And very close to El Calafate, just a few kilometers away, this modern building is a very well done interpretation center about the glaciers, about the ice, about the climate change. And here you can learn everything you want to know about both this glacier and the Patagonian ice field and anything related to cryosphere. So the history, which is not very long, let's say in comparison with what we have in Europe, where the history of scientific research may go back hundreds of years, but this is captured in this interpretation facility. So the arguments for the IUGS recognition, as they were submitted by the Argentinian colleagues, is the sort of emblematic temperate glacier representative for the southern Patagonian ice field, which is the largest ice field on Earth, away from the polar regions. This is very easily accessible and very well researched. The glacier, I know that the sites here were selected mainly for the scientific reasons, but if you can see the scientifically important place easily that makes an additional value to that. And the Perito Moreno is very well managed and prepared for tourist visits. It does show this unique behavior of the tow with these advances, closures of the lake, and then breaching the dams. And it is, as highlighted, one of the glaciers which do not show evident retreat in the last century or so. And its iconic status is confirmed by the inclusion into the UNESCO World Heritage Property Los Glaciares National Park. So that's it, I think, from now. Thank you very much. Bardzo dziękuję. That's Polish.
Thank you. Thank you, Piotr. I think there is time for a couple of one or two questions or comments, if you have any. Yes, please.
Are the other glaciers in the Patagonia ice sheet retreating, or is this representative of the whole ice sheet?
Well, as far as I know, or as far as I learned from this interpretation center, the Patagonian ice field is losing mass and it's shrinking in extent over most of this perimeter. So the Perito Moreno Glacier seems to be quite exceptional in this respect.
Any other, please? Okay.
Even though it's not retreating, is it getting thinner? Is the height at the terminus not as?
This I can't tell you. As you know, I'm just presenting a site. I haven't done any research on that, but it is quite well researched, and there were some recent papers describing the behavior and the trend. So I suppose you can get this information there, but not from me, unfortunately. I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you. So if there are no urgent questions, you may contact Piotr during the coffee break that is going to take place here in about 15 minutes. Now it's time to deliver the certificate to Piotr. So in person, you have to go there in person and deliver it. And I invite you to join. So thanks for your participation in this session. I invite you to the next session, which will start at 11:45. We will have another few very interesting sites from the desert to the landslides. So I think you will enjoy also the next site. Piotr, we would like to say.
Thank you very much.